Hey guys, welcome to the Wimborne Boxing Club channel. I'm Dave and I will be your virtual boxing coach. On this channel, we aim to bring you the very best boxing drills, boxing tutorials, virtual pad workouts, and coaching tips and tricks. If you like the sound of that, why don't you hit the subscribe button, hit the bell next to it, and you'll be notified every time we post a video. Okay, so let's move on to today's drill, and that is road work for boxers, and more specifically, what you should be doing with your running. Right then, let's get on to the video. So before we go into your actual running workout, we need to understand the three energy systems of the body. Now, we're not going to break them down in great detail, but what you do need to understand is two of the energy systems are anaerobic, they don't require oxygen, and one of them is aerobic, it requires oxygen. So going into a little bit more detail about those. So the two anaerobic systems, we have an ATP system, which will provide energy for 10 to 15 seconds. So maybe when you're doing a quick combination and then moving. And then we have the glycolytic system or the lactic acid system, which provides you energy for between 15 seconds and up to 2 to 3 minutes. So more of a sustained energy system. So the third system is the aerobic system, which requires oxygen, but it does mean that you can continue your exercise for a lot longer. So if you're ever going out on a long run or a long cycle, then it's the aerobic system that you use. So why are these important for boxing and why are these important to your running workout? Well, as boxers, we spend 70 to 80% of our time in the using the anaerobic energy systems. We spend that means we spend 20 to 30% of our time using the aerobic systems. So now let's look at our running workouts. The majority of the time, I would say boxers go on long runs, and a minority of the time, less time doing the sprint work. So if they were doing, say, 4 workouts, I'd say 3 of those would probably be longer runs and 1 would be maybe a sprint workout. So looking at actually how that transfers to your competing, you're spending 75% aerobically training and only 20-25% anaerobically training. So it's completely reversed to actually what you do when you're competing, when you're sparring. So what we need to be doing is making sure that, once again, our training is transferable into the ring. Spending loads of time aerobically means you're going to fatigue a lot quicker when you get in the ring and start working anaerobically. Now, I'm trying not to make this too complicated. Just trying to get across how our running, and I keep saying running, but any kind of aerobic, any kind of cardio activity. So it might not be running, it might be swimming, it might be cycling, but we're sticking with running because that's obviously the topic of the video. So your running workout needs to represent exactly what you're going to do in the ring, which means we need to be spending more time in the anaerobic, using the anaerobic energy system whilst we're training, so it does transfer. So how can we train anaerobically? Well, pretty simple. Anytime we sprint all out, we're going straight into that anaerobic system. So sprint training is definitely recommended as part of your running workout. Now, I would recommend time more than distance. So you might want to do, say, 30-second sprint, a minute off, 30-second sprint, a minute off. Now that minute off, that can be just a minute of active recovery, so walking or maybe a jog, or that could literally be 30 seconds of just not doing an awful lot, 30 seconds of rewarming, and then back into that 30-second sprint. Play with it. Plan your sprint workout and play with it. How many should you do? Again, it really depends on kind of where the amount of rounds and the length of rounds that you're boxing for. So if you were doing 30-second sprints and a minute off, I would do probably 3 30-second sprints with a minute off, and as a round. And then if I was boxing 3 rounds, I'd do that for 6. But that, you just play with your workout, you play with the sprint training, and just making sure that the intensity is high, because you're only going to see good adaptations if you're training at almost near maximal effort during those 30-second sprints. And then you have your lactic acid system. So you want to be training that in terms of not maximal effort, but you want to be working hard for 2 to 3 minutes. So this isn't a sprint, this is more of a head down and a sustained run. But in 2 to 3 minutes, you're probably looking at not even half a mile of running. So you can see now doing your 2-3 mile sustained runs, they're just, it's too far really. You want to be running for say half a mile at a really good pace and then taking your minute off. Again, I probably wouldn't stop running. I'd maybe do active rest for this minute, and then you might do another one of those, and then that's representing your anaerobic training as a round. So maybe if you're doing 3 rounds of actual boxing, 6 rounds of running. So you'll cover 3 miles in total, but it wouldn't be an all-out sprint. You probably wouldn't quite cover 3 miles, but it wouldn't be 3 miles in a oneer. It now represent kind of what you'd be doing in the ring, working anaerobically, then having a little bit of time in the aerobic, using the aerobic energy system, and then running again anaerobically. Hope I'm not confusing you. I hope you're kind of still with me. Also has been shown, because you do spend some time in the aerobic system, as we've said, you spend 25 to 30% of your time in the aerobic system. However, what the anaerobic system has been proven to do is to work, even though you're mainly working the anaerobic system and pushing the anaerobic threshold, you are actually still increasing your aerobic energy. So you're still working your anaerobic threshold and increasing that as well. So although you're working anaerobically, you're still working on your aerobic energy system as well. So the question is, do you really need to be going out on these long runs? Now, someone will say, well, yeah, we use them for weight management, but the long runs aren't transferable into your sport. So you're taking up a lot more of your training time, putting more stress on your body, just to burn 500 calories maybe. So my question back to you is, could you not manipulate your calorie intake to lose those 500 calories from the body? You know, again, it's all planning. Definitely all planning. And what you wouldn't want to do is say, like, right, I'm going to have 500 calories less today because I'm not running. You'd work it into your camp, depending on what sort of camp you're on, but you'd work it into the camp that you'd reduce your calories through food intake, than going out on these long runs. Now, this again is, like all the videos I put together, just my opinion based on what I know on the energy systems. If you've got anything that you want to come back with me at, then that's great. Hit the comments box and we can chat. But what I'm trying to get across from this video is you want to make the runs transferable into what you're doing in the ring. Otherwise, why are we doing it? So in my opinion, more anaerobic work, less aerobic long runs. It'll be less wear and tear on your body. You're still going to get your aerobic workout in through doing your anaerobic stuff, and it will transfer over into the ring, which means you fatigue less quickly, and you'll be able to compete for longer. Hope that has helped. I'm sure there'll be some questions. That's great. Comment below. I know there hasn't been an actual workout that I've suggested, but I've given you some ideas. Now you can plan your own, but really ask yourself, do you need to be going on these long runs? Can you, and you can, get more from your anaerobic training than your aerobic training? Right, I hope that's helped. I'd always say it, if you haven't already, subscribe, hit the button below, subscribe, hit the bell, and you'll get notified every time we post these videos out. Thanks for watching. Move on to my next video so you can learn a little bit more about your boxing training, and I look forward to seeing you there. Take care, guys.